What's up guys, it's Malloy and I'll talk to you guys about the tower and the leaderboards. Because I feel like there's a big issue that no one is talking about and it could potentially just make this whole thing kinda meaningless in a way and potentially even be a negative to Diablo 4. So first of all, for those that don't know, they implemented Tower. This was implemented in the middle of Season 11, around the 12th of January, I believe. It is a mode that, much like Pit, but, you know, instead of going down, you just turn that shit around, it goes up now. Instead of having 10 minutes, you only have, instead of having 15 minutes, you only have 10. Yeah, to be fair, there's a couple more differences, right? You don't get the progression right away, you gotta pick up orbs, much like the tree. You also have much more straight line maps. You also don't only have 2 levels, you have up to 5, I believe. And I think the biggest difference that it makes is that the density of the enemies, it's much lower. While on the Pit, you can easily feel like kind of that feeling of being overwhelmed by enemies, and they just keep coming and they're just fighting like 50 enemies at a time. In the Pit, there's much less enemies and there's more impact on it. You also have the pylons. The pylons is kind of the strategic part of the tower. Basically, every 25% progression you get, you'll spawn a pylon, so you can kind of control where they spawn. There's also different types of pylon. You can choose if you want to take the pylon down or if it's not worth it for your build. There's a lot of things that you can kind of, you know, that's kind of, at least that's the intention of it. I personally do not find, you know, like the tactical part of it that interesting or important, but to be fair, I didn't engage too much with the tower because I was not a fan of it after a couple of hours of playing. And one of those reasons I was not a fan about it, actually before you go into the reasons there, let's talk about the intentions behind the tower, right? For those that don't know, basically they wanted to split the kind of pit pushing thing from the pit as a whole, so they can have like fun stuff on pit, like making one of the pits be full of goblins, another be full of butchers, you know, crazy stuff, which is nice, right? I really love that. You can make some silly stuff happen, you know. I love getting silly on this channel, so you know, that's fun. Fun stuff is always nice. So they wanted to make a different thing where you care more about the integrity of things, right? You take things a bit more seriously for the people that want to play that and want to compete, which, you know, that's nice in theory. But there's a couple of issues. First of all, I'm gonna go over the issues we currently have. Some of them are already fixed in the patch notes. For example, the initial circle progression exploit. I personally found this in the first hour or 2 hours of playing Tower, so this was known from the start. Basically, you can stay inside the initial circle, and as long as you don't leave it, the run does not start. So if you get lucky enough and you have a lot of enemies spawning at the beginning, what you can do is try to kill them, and whenever the elite pack that you pulled in is low, you get out, finish it off, and you get anywhere from 5 to 15 progression right away, right? And that can save you like 1 or 2 minutes, which is really big when, you know, it's a max of 10 minutes. It can give you 1 or 2 extra levels in the tower. Then, the other one that we got that was another exploit was double tempers. This was only reported. I could not verify this myself, but there's a bunch of reports about it on the Reddit. I've also heard people talking about it. I don't know to what degree this is 100% verified, so do take it with a grain of salt. But there's that. A lot of you are probably familiar with double tempers. If you're not, basically, in seasons prior to this, there was a way to get triple tempers on gear. And basically you just got 2 of the 2 strong tempers that you wanted on gear. And some tempers can be really strong. They can be passives that increase your damage by either 4 or 6% per rank, and they can be really strong and offer you a bunch of damage, especially if you can get 2 of them. What also happens is that if you masterwork one, it will also masterwork the other, right? So it was really powerful. I personally thought this would not, you know, be in the game because they changed how tempers work, but apparently it's potentially still in the game. But the other one that I know for sure is the thing is exploits that makes group runs count as solo if other users leave before the run is finished. So, basically, let's say you're running, I don't know, a build that can only do pit 100, tower 100. What you do is you go in that build with 3 other mates of yours that can, just by themselves, they can clear 150. Well, now you can clear most of the run, and they can leave, and as long as you can finish that guy off, which, you know, you might not, it's a big difference, but if you can finish it off, it will count as a solo clear. Now, this is the most egregious ones. Look, this can easily get you like 10 to 15 extra pit levels, because after that it starts getting really hard to finish things off, right? But it's still a big leap, and yeah, it's a bit problematic, as you can imagine. We're gonna get back to this exploit thing, but another thing I want to talk about is the fact that there's no gear snapshot. What I mean by this is, if you look at someone's gear in the leaderboard right now, you might see someone, I don't know, on the Paladin leaderboard with a 140 clear, and you look at the gear, and it's a Divine Lance build, and they're like, how the hell did this guy clear 140 with Divine Lance? Well, actually, Divine Lance is just a build they're trying out, or they're just playing for fun outside of the tower, but when they play the tower, they were playing a Judgment build. But since the gear that they cleared the tower with is not snapshot, well, you see their current gear right now. There are also some issues with private profiles, okay, that was hard, that were not showing properly, that was fixed, but the things not getting snapshot is also a thing. There's also no way for you to see their skill tree or paragon, but that was never a thing, to be fair, but that's something they should consider as well. Now, getting back to the exploits are always gonna happen, alright? No matter how many exploits they fix, whenever a new patch comes out, someone is gonna find a new exploit. It's just gonna happen. What they need to do, if they actually care about having, you know, about the integrity of this, the leaderboards, which is kind of the whole point. If you don't care about the integrity, just don't even have leaderboards to begin with. What they need to do is to moderate it to some degree. I'm not talking about reviewing all the 1000 runs per class, that's too much, right? But at the very least, keep on top of the like top 10 or the top 20, because top 20 I believe is kind of the first page, right? Keep on top of that. At the very least that, and if you see people exploiting, ban them, remove their run, and we're done, right? Because if you don't care about the integrity, and like this is literally a 1 or 2% job at most, right? And yes, it's additional resources, but if you care about the leaderboards, you need to care about having integrity in them. And if you cannot guarantee some sort of integrity to it, what even is the point? Now, the thing I feel like most people are missing when they're talking about the tower, about the positives and the negatives, is the fact tower is inherently, as it stands, it's just gonna promote FOMO. Right? Because what's the point of playing tower if you're not playing the meta of your class? Right? There's no point currently. Because, let's use for example Barbarian, right? If the meta is Hammer of the Ancients, which it is right now, why the hell would you try to do tower with Whirlwind? Or even Rand? I don't know why you would get Rand. I mean, sorry, Rand is just out here catching strays anyway. But you know, if you're not playing the meta, there's absolutely no point in doing tower. Because if you're lucky, you might get an 800 placement. Everyone else that's playing auto is just gonna get ahead of you. There's no reason to play it unless you're playing meta. And the thing is, it's all nice and good right now because there's no rewards, but supposedly there's supposed to be some sort of cosmetic reward. I don't know if it's like a title, if it's like a flare around your name, if it's like just a banner. There's supposed to be something. Hopefully never gear. If they implement gear as a reward for better rank, then that's just the dumbest thing they could do. The cosmetic is still a problem, right? Because that will still, you know, make FOMO happen. and there's currently no way for you to even filter. It's not even about having different ranks at all. You cannot even filter to try and, you know, compete. Without rewards, you cannot even filter by skill, which, granted, I don't think it would fix stuff, but you know, for example, the thing we use right now for pit leaderboards, L-Tides, you can go there and you can filter by skill usage, and you can kinda gauge a bit who's using what, and you can kinda, you know, take all of the Hammer of the Ancients out and just compare between all the double swing builds, right? You can do that right now on the Helltide leaderboards. You cannot even do that on the leaderboards we have in game right now. For the Tower leaderboards, you cannot even filter by that, which is really stupid. There's no reason to not have at least that simple filter. Again, I don't think it would fix the main issue, but at least it would be something. Because the main issue is, let's say I'm playing auto. I have no reason to be playing double swing, but I want to get the top rank on double swing. What I do is I look at my skills, I see, okay, this skill only realistically gives me one extra tier, right? It's not that big of a deal. I'm gonna swap that off with double swing, and bam, now I'm the top double swing barb. Yay! Right? Okay. If, like, right. How do you fix that? Well, I have heard people talk, I think this was Woody talking about this, like they could try and gauge by the amount of damage the skill does, like whichever skill or source of damage did the most damage, it will be, that will be what's used for ranking, right? That's a potential, that's kind of the best thing, I think. That's the best idea I've heard, honestly. But there's also the issue, like, what is a source of damage? We can all agree that every skill should have their own thing. Should even have that for supportive ults. What happens if you introduce something that makes that ult, for example, you can even scale rank 5 damage on Wrath of Berserker, because Wrath of Berserker on rank 5 gives you damage, right? Why can't you make a build around that, right? Are you also gonna scale that? Okay. Now about Earthquakes and Dust Devils, sure. But should he have Lucky Hit on Barbarian? Barbarian normally doesn't do Lucky Hit, although there was a season that Lucky Hit was pretty decent. Season 9, I believe, was pretty decent on Barb. And now you need to make Lucky Hit for that, but now you need to consider all of the sources of Lucky Hit damage, because Barb could use like 2 or 3. Well, okay. And okay, now this random thing that was never used before, this random source of damage over here, well, now there's a build around that. So now what? You need to keep adding kind of on a whim to know, because you can't add all sources. Sorry, you can't add all sorts of damage, because that would just bloat the thing for no reason. But then you just have to have someone keep on top of the thing constantly, to keep updating on whichever new build comes out. And as, you know, as some of us at least feel, Blizzard already has a really hard problem keeping on top of the meta of the game. At least I personally feel that way, and I know I'm not alone on that. There's a lot of times that you just look at things and you're like, huh? Right? And so I'm not confident they could do it. So we're at the point that, are leaderboards healthy for the game? What do leaderboards even give Diablo for? Because we already know leaderboards are not for most people. Leaderboards are there just for the 0.0.0.01% of gamers. And the thing is, they don't even do that job properly. Right? Because they just force everyone to play the same build, at least as it currently is. They just promote an really unhealthy, because people already have FOMO, right? Look at season 10. Season 10 Barb was in one of the most healthiest places it ever was. Probably the most healthiest place Barb ever was. It was decently strong, it was not overpowered, it was decently strong, it had a very, like, I don't think I'm exaggerating, it had like 15 to 20 builds that you could play on Barb. You could play anything on Barb and clear 100. And the max Barb could ever do, which was kind of an outlier already, was lunging. Generally speaking, nothing was going over 115. Lunging was the only exception, right? It was a very healthy kind of minimum like bottom floor and ceiling for the class, right? It was very healthy. You were strong enough to do everything in the game, and people still didn't want to play Barb because Barb was the weakest class, right? Even though by all metrics, right, Barb was a really strong class, but because it was doing 5 less speed tiers than the top class, no one wanted to play it. People already have that problem when it doesn't matter. 99% of people, 99.9% of people playing Diablo do not need to be playing the top pit build, because they are not competing for the top pit. They only need a build that can max their glyphs, do bosses, and clear content fast. And there's a bunch of builds that can do it, especially that season. Especially that season on Barb, most builds could do that. There was even a really fun build, which was the auto shot. I called it the shotgun. I didn't come up with a name, but you know, that was the name for the build, right? The shotgun build, which was just an auto cast of dust devils with your shouts constantly up. It was mega fun to play with, and a lot of people missed out on that because of FOMO. So we already established that FOMO is a problem in the game. At least I really believe it to be, and I don't think I'm alone in that. And now they're actually introducing a thing, because before the FOMO was not really, didn't really have any reason for FOMO. People just had FOMO because. But now there's actually, or there will be a reason for that FOMO to exist, because you want the shiny thing, right? You want the shiny banner, the shiny title, right? And what happens when everyone wants it and everyone is trying to get on the top 1000 of the leaderboard? Everyone is going to be playing the top build, because if you're not, you have no hopes. There's millions of people playing this game, right? Even if you get it down to, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands, right? That probably take it a bit more seriously and would try to go for that shiny thing. There's still a bunch of people you're competing with, so if you really want to at least get the 1000, you should be playing the meta build. That's the smart thing to do. That's the logic thing to do. And I don't think this will be healthy for the game long term. As it is, leaderboards, and not necessarily the tower, but leaderboards as they are gonna be a net negative for Diablo 4. That's what I truly believe in. Let me know how you guys feel about this in the comments. I would like to see what other people are thinking, other points of views, now that you know, heard what I had to say and are aware of this. At least I feel like it's gonna be a problem, the FOMO problem. And yeah, let me know what you think about it, if you think I'm super off base here, if you think I'm correct, and what do you think it's the solution to this. I couldn't come up with a really good solution. I think what I believe was Woody that suggested was kind of the best case scenario, and I'm not really, and like even then I don't think that's an ideal thing. So yeah, let me know how it goes. We'll be streaming in the third of, you know, in like 1 or 2 days, whenever the PTR comes out, we're gonna be playing it, we're gonna be testing it. We didn't see a lot of changes, but we'll see what it goes. And yeah, anyway guys, see you on the stream or tomorrow on the next video, and yeah, see you guys next time. Bye bye. Make sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, that YouTuber stuff. I know what I'm doing.